Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from the Philippines. This is Coach Hasmin, a certified life coach from the Global Institute for Coaches and Entrepreneur. Welcome to Boss Connect, Who of the Hour episode for individuals in the leadership position in their respective organizations. We are doing this video series as a service to our community during this time of physical isolation due to COVID-19. And with me, I am with Coach K. You cannot see her, but she is there. Coach K?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, good day wherever you are in the world right now. I'm experiencing some, technical difficulties here from where I am. I'm in
Mm,
region. I'm in Palo Leyte, so in the Philippines, and you can see me there, but yeah, I can hear and I can see both of them, and I can hear everything.
mm,
So I'm also a change agent. I'm certified by the Global Institute for Coaches and Entrepreneurs. This thing that we're doing, the Boss Connect, this is our initiative to connect with people who are in authority and who set the direction in their respective fields of influence. We connect to know their present situation, how are they responding to their current realities, and the outcome presently experienced as a result of the chosen response.
yes, oo. And for the information of many, Global Institute for Coaches and Entrepreneur is based in Dallas, Texas, USA, with local presence through our 24/7 coaching hub at Decap Coffee Republic, located in PC Compound, Capitolio, Pasig City. We offer coaching on-demand services any time of the day. Just connect through 0917-586-1661 or visit our FB page, Life Coach Philippines. We also provide life coach certification classes for those interested to become a professional life coach like us, Coach K.
Yes. And so to continue, dear viewers, allow me now to introduce to you our Who of the Hour. He is Mr. Ty Morrissey. So he is
Mm,
the director of Morrissey Consulting International. That's his own company. And
mm.
he is also my friend. And I've worked with him before in the consultancy, and right now he is based in Jakarta. He is right now in Jakarta, Indonesia. So Ty, please tell us more about you and like introduce yourself and also what's your present situation right now.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to share this afternoon. Obviously, this is a very unique situation.
Okay, Coach
You're
K.
engaging with.
Mm-hmm.
There are some certain challenges that we're all facing. Just a bit of background in terms of what my company is that I'm a director of Morrissey Consulting International. It's a company that specialises primarily in the foreign aid and development projects. So I do a lot of work with the World Bank, UN agencies like the International Labour Organization, and a lot of work with both the UK government, DFID, and also the Australian government through the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. And so I have a portfolio of programs across the world, from Africa, Uganda, I have a program there, Indonesia, Vietnam, and also out into the Pacific through Vanuatu. So this current situation has certainly impacted upon my work, primarily because I can't travel anywhere, which certainly limits my ability to engage with clients and engage with my donors on a regular basis, particularly face to face. Personally, I live in Jakarta, so I'm essentially homebound here. I guess unfortunately the government here hasn't issued a formal lockdown or a shutdown, so my wife and I are sort of essentially self-isolating, primarily hoping just that things will get better, but obviously based on the statistics or the lack thereof, we think things will get a lot worse here before they get better. So the current situation for us is very much in limbo. But that said, we're remaining very positive because there's a lot of opportunities. And the way that I've structured my business is that a lot of my work can be done from home. And obviously utilizing technology enables me to maintain contact with my clients. So I have daily video calls with my team leaders, also with donors. And also I'm actually currently chasing new opportunities and looking at a new way of working. during the course of any given year, I'm probably on about 200 different flights. So you get a picture of the type of travel that I'm engaged with, and it'll be essentially 2 to 3 flights per week to different parts of the world, and also domestically within those countries. So for me personally, at this level, is I'm actually trying to take a bit of a break. So the idea is, rather than traveling and gallivanting around the world and chasing airlines and chasing airports and chasing work, it's a chance for me to sit back and sort of reflect on what I've achieved in the last period, say 6 months to 12 months, help me to continue with some of the work that I'm doing, because obviously we all need still some form of income flowing. So I need to prioritize that. And so I've actually sent out emails and had phone conversations with all of my teams to basically talk them through, obviously to prioritize their health first, to make sure that they're okay, but also to help them identify, well, what are the potential economic opportunities, that being work, that we can look at. And the third part of what I've been trying to do is actually sit down and plan for the future, trying to use this break in which has been enforced upon us. And I think wherever you may come from, we all have a situation where we often get caught up doing our day-to-day things. And often we don't get a chance to think about, well, what does the future hold? What's important? And also, what do we need to do to respond? So when we get forced into a situation like we've all been forced into, it gives you a bit of a chance to think. So I'm trying to use the time to, I guess, strategically think, how can my business respond to this? How can I ensure that my staff are safe? And how can I then leverage off those opportunities, given the relationships and the existing experiences that I have? How can I make or provide solutions to my clients that are going to be much more efficient going forward? Because I don't think this is a situation that's just going to change in the next week or 2 weeks or even month. I think a fundamental shift in the way that we will be doing business, the way that we'll be consulting, and also the way that potentially you'll be coaching and counseling. And so for me, I see, and I was just talking with one of my team leaders in Vanuatu the other day, just as an example, and we're looking at trying to release up to $20 million from the World Bank to provide us support. And we're talking about, is this really a health approach? Is it an economic approach, or is it a social response? And I think obviously COVID-19 is obviously first and foremost a health situation, but obviously we need to start thinking, what does this mean economically for individuals, for families, for communities, and even for countries? And then what does that mean socially? So if people are already poor, if people are marginalized, if people are vulnerable, and you don't have income, well, that leads to potential mental health issues. It leads to other addiction issues, such as alcoholism. It leads to potential domestic violence, which is a major issue. So when people are confined in small we're popped back on there. So I think part of the work that I've been doing just myself is, how am I responding to those challenges, is that I'm actually not trying to look at it as a challenge. I'm trying to look for the opportunity. And I think it comes to your mindset. So for me, this is not a challenge. I'm not trying to downplay that it's all wonderful and perfect, but for me, it's, look, yes, it is a difficult situation, but how do I make this situation better for myself, for my wife, for my colleagues, and also for my broader programs? And so COVID has actually probably affected me not so much, thankfully. I mean, I'm healthy. I did have a runny nose a couple of weeks ago, so everyone thinks the worst. But I think, from a health perspective, that's fine. But for me professionally now, looking forward, I'm really looking forward to, how can I sharpen my business? How can I take things online even more than what I'm doing? And a lot of the work that I do is data analysis, it's providing recommendations, it's thinking strategically and writing concepts. So whatever the business that you're in, I mean, you just have to think. And I think you need to sort of look for what your strengths are. Some people work very well from home. I mean, I'm used to working from home, so the change for me was not significant. But for some people who are very social and like to work in an office environment, this current situation will pose some challenges. So I think, my advice to everyone, and a few people have asked me, is really, you need to have a strong attitude, a strong personal self-assessment of what you're doing, how you're going to do it, and then think about in a practical way how you can engage and how you can implement that strategy. And it doesn't need to be significant. It's just small changes, tinkering around with your business model, tinkering around with your career. And for a lot of other people who potentially are employees and not running their own business, I mean, I've heard many people using the opportunity to take on some online learning. Learn a language, learn a new skill, read a book, or top up on a skill that you may not often have the time to do when you have a busy day-to-day life. But if you're forced into a confined situation, look for those opportunities that may add value to your life. And I think that's an important thing. Sitting around watching TV or having a beer or just sleeping in all the time is not really going to help you in the longer term. So the idea is prioritize what needs to be done, look for opportunities, and try and make it fun. And that's the other thing. So, who knows what the future will hold. My business is ticking along okay. Obviously, the greater concern is that some of my bigger clients and projects are also facing these issues. And so I'm finding that potential invoices and that might be a bit slow. But again, realizing that we're all in the same situation and being calm and talking to people. And that's the other key point, is communication. So whether you're talking to your family, whether you're talking to your staff, or whether you're talking to your donors and clients, it's important to let people know what the situation is and how you can help them and how they can also help you. If you're not clear on what the expectations are, people will not ask. So I think that it's about having clear communication channels across your business and across your own personal lives. That tends to make things a little bit easier. I think that's about it for now. I mean, I'm happy if there's other questions or comments. I didn't want to lecture everyone forever, but it's some of my internal thoughts that I've been grappling with in the last couple of days.
I think you've already, what you said already encompassed the whole of the hour. And Ty, can I just request the mic? Can you put it there so that it will not be noisy? Our master coach A, the global partner of Global Institute for Coaches and Entrepreneur here in the Philippines, is watching. She said, "Hello, Ty. Thank you for saying yes and connecting with us." And she has a wonderful question for you. She's asking, what one mindset can we put in place to alchemize the present challenges towards a trajectory of growth, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, look, it's a very good question. And I think that as I was saying in my sort of initial thinking, is I think we need to think about our individual selves first in terms of making sure that we're okay and assessing that and having a bit of self-reflection and self-thinking. But that said, you can't entirely work in isolation. So then I think it's about working closely with your immediate family and also with your immediate colleagues who you're working with. So you have a responsibility to be supportive both to your
Nagka-problema yata siya sa no?
Yeah.
I think he has...
Akala ko ako yun. So, okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I just dropped off there. I'm sorry.
There he's back. Yeah.
You're back, Ty.
Sorry. We've just got a big storm rolling through here in Jakarta, so I think my internet went a little bit crazy for a second. So basically, as I was saying, look, it comes down to your individual self-reflection, taking care of your family, friends, and close colleagues, but then a broader societal thing in terms of the way that you behave. So for me personally, it's the way that I've been engaging with my clients and my staff, ensuring that they're okay, trying to keep a positive mindset, because the other thing is this is short-term as well. So, in the whole scheme of things, this will pass. I'm sure you've probably heard that on many news sites and things like that. So, but it's often difficult when you're in the midst of it all to see, is there an opportunity at the end of the tunnel? And I think that we all need to use the time in a positive manner to reflect on what we can do. It will pass, and before you know it, you'll be back to doing what you do well. But I'm trying to use this time as that opportunity to sort of just think about where things have come from, where are they going, and is that where I want to be going as well? So I think that's important for your own mindset and a chance just to reset and think about what is important.
Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. Just like what you said earlier, having that mindset, so you are seeing this not as a challenge, but instead an opportunity, right, Coach K? Coach K, are you there?
Yes, and I
Mm,
yes, can you hear me?
mm,
And also I like to, because Ty and I we know each other like from way back. So I really know him to be very busy, and you know he's really he works like day in day out. And like what I'm getting from the from his sharing is that even him, like him, that you know he owns his company and all that, and this is like doing a lot of things like globally. But if we listen to his story, it's he's not like taking this as, you know, like sort of like waiting what's gonna happen after,
mm,
like waiting mindlessly, or like, you know, he's still very much into thinking that this is really an opportunity. Like if there's something that you can do to improve oneself, like, you know, learn new things, a new
yeah,
language, like new skills. Yeah, so
new skills.
that's one thing that I really, yes, I'm picking up. And also like he also mentioned about like clients, his clients at this point in time, like and the really the essence and the value of communication. Because like we are all going through all this, but at the same time we also need to make sure that we still keep in touch, like we don't lose that connection with the clients that we're serving. Yeah. What is the I want to ask you as to what's the difference now, like because you said there's really not much difference, but what is it, like if there's at least one thing that we can say is different this time that there's a lockdown as compared
Sorry, I'm just going to have to ask for the
for
question to
you,
be
sorry.
repeated. Sorry,
Yeah,
the
Coach
question.
K, it's not clear. So you're asking what's the difference, Coach K?
Yeah, yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
No, not clear.
I think you might just have to write the
This
question down,
one.
Kay. Might be
This
easier.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can
Yeah,
you hear me now?
not clear.
Okay.
Okay. So while we are, Coach K, are you there?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay, game. Mm-mm.
Hi, Ty. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you. That's clear. Thanks.
Okay, okay. Okay, so in terms of like you mentioned earlier that there's not much difference as to how
Mm-mm.
you know like in on your on a day-to-day basis. But if there's just at least one thing that you can really say, that if you look back to this moment, like let's say, you know, 5 years, 10 years from now, what would it, like what is that one thing that you can say that it would stick, like something that would stick to you about this COVID thing, like the lockdown and everything, like on a personal, at a personal level for you.
Okay, look, yeah, this is a very good question, and I think for me, there's two, and I'm glad you brought up both the personal and the professional level, because often we get caught up in the professional level
Yeah.
too often, and we often forget about the personal level, including our own selves, and then also those people who are important to us. So I think that there's two streams here. So I think from a professional level, let me start with probably the easier one first, and I think that this sort of situation is going to create a whole raft of new opportunities for people. Um, and like any sort of sudden shocks or what we call black swan sort of events, things that just come out of nowhere that we're not aware of, I think that, for all the listeners out there, I mean, I think what we need to be, or what you need to be looking for, is what are the opportunities that are going to emerge from this crisis. And this is where you get those sort of positive, look for those positive things and those opportunities that are going to emerge. So there's going to be a lot more work that's going to be done online. There's going to be a lot more work in the healthcare and sort of
Mm,
frontline
yeah.
industries. There's going to be a lot more in the coaching and the counselling and the mental health sort of side of things.
Mm,
And this is where the future is going to head. So you're probably going to see less who needs more bankers when we're going to need more people who are going to be caring for people and looking after people, particularly as we get older. Aging populations are going to drive, a need to, for these type of services. And so whatever industry you're in and whatever sort of work that you're involved with, it's going to be changing at all different levels. So that's going to mean that some things become obsolete, but there's going to be a whole raft of new things going to open up, working online. I even heard some news articles the other night, that there's going to be huge opportunities for women who generally, where children and other childbearing responsibilities tend to fall. By working online, they can re-enter the workforce in a more positive way. So I think professionally, there's going to be significant changes in our labour force, the way that we work, and the way that we engage. For me, at a personal level, I'm hoping that this opportunity actually creates an opportunity for people to start having some more healthy mindsets and healthy habits, I guess, and ultimately bringing, working out what's important. Obviously, we're dealing with a lot of issues globally, whether it's climate change, whether it's political or social upheaval in certain parts of the world. When these sort of events happen, so hopefully people start to prioritize what's actually really important. And so I think from a personal level, I would hope to see that, families are reconnected. I must admit the other day I had a nice catch up with my parents, via Skype, where we had an afternoon coffee and a drink together just to catch up. How often do we get a chance to do that?
Yeah.
So that's at a very micro level, but I think at a broader level, society can start asking some very challenging questions about, well, who are we and what do we need to do to work collectively together? And I think, if you're in the coaching in terms of coaching sort of industry, there's huge opportunities to bring people together in a positive way. And, using communication, using technology for a positive, not to sort of spread bad news and terrible things about people or other things, use it as a positive medium to engage and support each other. So I hope from a personal level, we see that going forward in a much more positive way.
Yeah, wonderful. We really appreciate how do you see it in a very broad perspective in terms of industry and professional level, and also what you have said about a time to reconnect with the family, because when we do not have this, that's the our least priority, to connect with the family. And another question from you from Master Coach A. She's asking, what collaborative opportunities across industries do you project will happen out of this global threat for human survival?
Okay, well, the questions are getting harder and harder, which is good. Look, a lot of the work that just again at a personal level, a lot of the work that I'm involved with is around data and around analysis. And I think just drawing on one example that I think has popped up recently, and obviously living in Indonesia, this is a big issue, is that obviously people want to know rates of infection, how many people have got COVID-19, what does it look like, blah, blah, blah. So if you don't have accurate data or accurate statistics for whatever reason, it's very hard to make decisions. And so I think one of the collaborative things that's going to come out of all of this is there's going to be a greater focus on companies, governments, to have better quality data. I've also been aware of this because I've also, when I was working with her, we discussed this quite a lot. So, for example, we worked with the Department of Education in the Philippines. So for them to make decisions around education policy, you need to have good quality data as to how many kids do you have in school, both boys and girls, what's their learning outcomes, and as a result of that, where do we need to put the resources into schools? So at a macro level, I think the collaborative aspects that are going to come out of this will be a strong demand for good quality data so that communities feel safe, but also governments can make proper decisions, because there's going to have to be a lot of tough decisions made in the next coming months and also coming years, particularly for those governments that have leveraged up to sort of bankroll sort of social situations. So that's one area. I think the other area is we're going to see a shift, as I said earlier, in terms of the priority placed on certain careers. And I think that often in any sort of culture or any country, generally teaching and nursing, the salaries are generally very low. Often they're overlooked and they're seen as sort of an extension of other services. But I think in these sort of situations, you're going to see a rise in the profile and also the quality of teachers and also health professionals, because there's going to be a much greater emphasis placed on the quality of those, because they essentially are the people who are driving countries going forward in terms of if people are isolating, well, who's educating the children, who's providing care for the sick and for the needy. So I think the collaborative efforts that we'll see a shift in the way in which we're working. But I'm also probably going to see greater opportunities for online sort of coaching and support. And I think that this is one thing that's popped up in particularly my work, is that, you know, in the past you would be sort of traveling somewhere to deliver a training course. Well, if I can deliver a training course or a coaching course from my lounge room or my study, why do I need to then get on a plane to go do something when I can? So the technology advances, I think, are really going to drive the way in which we engage with our businesses and also with our clients. And I think that's going to lead to a whole range of collaborative efforts, you know, like what we're doing here today.
Yes.
Different people from different sectors talking to each other and coming up with potential solutions. But I think underpinning all of this is going to be, I guess, the rise of good quality statistics and data that people can use and understand. I mean, we need to make it simple so that people can understand. So that's where I certainly see collaborative efforts going forward. But technology can certainly facilitate that.
Yeah, wonderful. And Coach Aid said, thank you, Tai. I hear your thoughts. I appreciate it. I look forward to our future collaboration. Yeah,
Thank you,
just
Coach
like what
A.
we are doing it. We're doing it right now. We're having this online coaching, right? So there's really no more hindrance or excuses on why we can't really have that online coaching, right, Coach K?
Yes, and also it's really it's wonderful that I mentioned about the, you know, information, the importance of statistics and data, and you know, and he's really the man for that. Like he that's his expertise. And um I'm also looking at it as like the you time mentioning about the online, like
Mm,
opportunities on online activities, and you know,
yeah.
like doing it there. And it's also what I've seen here, that this COVID lockdown, this situation that we have right now, really opened that side of it, like the online activities, and all of a sudden now people are like appreciating it, that we can do it. But I think while I was sharing earlier, I was thinking about it, that as collectively, like as one humanity, the lessons also that we have to remember from this is like, one, I'm thinking, if we are go into the online thing, like we must not also forget the connection. Like how do we also make sure that after all of these things, like when we go back to the normal thing where we can already interact, we won't opt for the online but avoid the physical, you know, the being really together, like the being with one with our loved ones, like physically, because both physical and other forms of connection are really important. And as what Master Coach A mentioned about collaboration, it's unfortunate that you can't see me on screen, but I was smiling while I was mentioning about collaboration, because I was also thinking like we can really have that collaboration, like with him, like with you, Tai, we can have that collaboration, because like how do we improve the services? So we really need to have the right information, so that the decisions would really be information based, and it's really like there are studies conducted for it talaga. And also like I also see this, like what's happening right now, it's really for governments to rise up, because at the individual level, as I mentioned, we can do so much as well from our end, like individually, but really collectively, the response of this would be like the global community, like governments and you know the institutions that are really set out for to address like a concern as massive as this COVID-19. Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. So, Tai, one more question is, what is the outcome? What outcome do you desire right now? Uh, since the situation you mentioned that yes, it may not be the situation will not be gone in a few in 2 weeks, or maybe it will be another month. So, what outcome would you like to see? Hello?
I think there's a bit of, yeah, there's a bit of
There's a
challenge,
delay.
delay also from his end.
Yan, Coach K. Yes,
Yeah,
so I think he
it,
needs to log in if he
yeah,
returns. Mm-mm. And for now, so for those who have just tuned in, we are interviewing Tai from, he is based in Indonesia right now. And his business is more on the data. He's a consultant, right, Coach K?
yeah, he's an M&E monitoring and evaluation expert. He's into program management and
Mm-mm.
really is doing a lot of work globally. Like he's in
Yes.
multiple countries. So let's wait for him till he logs
Mm.
in.
Yes. And we love how he sees this as an opportunity and not a challenge,
Mm,
right? So,
yeah,
so
right.
there's so many things running in his mind, like the online, we can online teaching, diba? Online coaching, and more on opportunity for his business to for the government and the to collaborate.
There,
Yeah, you're back, Tai.
you're
Sorry,
back,
sorry.
right?
It's
Just dropped
Yeah,
okay.
out.
it's
My
Yes,
okay.
apologies.
it's okay. So, what outcome would you like to see, Tai, from this present situation right now? If this will not be gone for another month, what outcome would you like to see at the present?
For myself or for
Yeah,
just my
for
general
yourself
observation?
personally.
Okay, for myself, yeah. So, look, for myself, I'm probably hoping for a little bit more of the same, and probably a bit more of a rebalancing of the way that I have been conducting my business in the past.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, it's been just or nearly 2 weeks now that I've been sort of in my own little self-imposed lockdown. So for me, I'm actually quite enjoying it. But that said, it'd be nice to get back on a plane at some point and go and have some face-to-face contact with my clients. But I certainly am appreciating the opportunity to spend more time with my wife. It's more opportunity to spend time, talking with other family members, and also just to sort of, maybe take a break during the day. I mean, I'm enjoying going for a swim, sort of in the afternoon. Whereas before, you instead of working 20 hours a day, it's actually nice to stop and say, well, I can pick this up tomorrow. So just a slower pace. So hopefully the outcome is that I'm trying to instill some good habits in myself,
Mm.
that I can sort of continue to employ. So the way that I engage with people, the way that I treat myself in terms of, not trying to overcook my work and stress myself out, but also the way in which I can look at ways of doing things a little bit more efficiently and a little bit more effectively. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to hope to take out of it. So it could be a month, it could be 2 months, but look, even
Mm.
if it's 6 months, well, there's a lot for me to work on. So I think, if you're out there, any opportunities that you have to sort of self-improve, to self-learn, I would certainly encourage you to do that.
Wonderful. And in a whole perspective, what outcome would you like to see?
Well, I guess it's, I mean, like, I guess I'm an eternal optimist that, the world is a good place. With unfortunate, some of those people and other things might not be so good. But look, I guess, as I said, as I alluded to at the start, I hope it's an opportunity for us to reflect on things ourselves and
Mm.
then with our families, and then that then translates up. I mean, I understand what Kay was saying, or sorry, Coach Kay was saying, in terms of its government's
Yes, Coach K.
take care of each other and to
Mm.
also look to try and set examples. So I think hopefully there's a bit of a closer connection between, I guess, populations in terms of communities, and also broader, rather than blaming certain groups of people for certain things, we see it as an opportunity to fix problems and to resolve issues in a more mature and a bit more of a peaceful manner.
Yes, Coach K. Are you there?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Mm.
it's very, I'm really grateful for, for all the sharing that Thais is giving us today. Um, it's like we start, what I'm getting from him is like we start from the self, from, from within, and then we apply it in whatever it is that we're doing outside, like with other people, better connection, and you know really self improvement, and then we also improve the space where we have influence on. And yeah, and I'm really grateful, Ty, for you for saying yes to our invitation
Yes.
this.
Oh, well, thank you
And
for the invitation, Kay.
thank you so much. And yeah, I'm just smiling here the whole time as I watch you, because I'm really glad that we have this opportunity to connect, um, and also to share this like with other people who are really watching us right now, not only in the
Mm,
Philippines but globally, because there's so much that we can learn from what you shared.
yes.
Yeah, there's really a lot in there. There's a lot.
Yep. And if you would like to know more about the coaching profession, Tai, so Coach K will send to you the link of Coach A coaching community. So there's a lot of content there to help, especially on relevant right now with our situation, help to help people to stay on how to stay mentally healthy, right, Coach K? And you can watch also this in Coach A coaching community as a replay, and you can also share it to your friends and to your colleagues and to your clients so they can also hear your inputs and your wisdom and your insight on this pandemic situation, right, Coach K? And for me, I
Yeah,
have no
and
more question.
mm-mm.
And
And
um
Coach
yeah.
Asmin, I also would like to add, like, Ty mentioned earlier about the, like, this is a time, even like right now and after the lockdown is over, the opportunity for caring for others.
Yes. Mm-mm.
Yeah, the opportunity for caring for others, because yeah, that's really important. And as you were mentioning about sharing the, coaching and all that,
Mm-mm.
this is like the equalizer. And this is the mental health and mental wellness is not just for, who are already challenged with it before, but now, whether or not you're mentally healthy before or not, this is really a situation that just brought a lot of, uncertainties for all of us. So yeah, all the more that we are needed and we need to reach out to other people. So yeah, I would definitely send the link to Tai, so he can also share it with the people he
Yes.
knows, and his partners and his connections.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you, Tai, and we'll be teaching you. I'll be teaching you because Coach K is not there. She will just say
Yeah,
it. So
we'll
we
teach
have
you
this.
something, Tai.
This is how we say goodbye to everyone. And instead of spreading the virus, we are spreading the love. We have the love bomb boom. So you can form your hands into a heart shape like this. This is the
Got a
love
Yeah.
weird
bomb.
one.
Yeah.
Yes, and we are going
Or
to
love bomb.
explode the bomb. So
Got a
we
weird
call this
heart.
love bomb boom. Yes, that's how we spread the love. Yes.
There we
So
go.
at the
Yeah.
count of Coach K, count one, two, three, and
Yes.
let's spread
Okay.
the
On the
Okay,
love.
I'll
count
do it
of
again.
three. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Love
Bomb
bomb
Mm.
boom.
Mm.
boom. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Wow.
you
people.
so much,
Wonderful
Tai.
session.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much. Bye.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye.